How you doing, guys? A while back I did a video on gas storage because I think it's something that a lot of people probably don't do and probably should, because we are super dependent, especially as a society, not necessarily individually, but as a culture, and most people's day-to-day lives are super dependent on gasoline. And even though you can't realistically store enough to maintain your normal type of habits using gas for any long period of time, having an extra 5 or 10 gallons around can make a huge difference, especially in the initial stages of some sort of catastrophe or certainly in a bug out situation. And I've personally, down here in Florida, been in some hurricane situations where gas stations have had lines around the block, and hopefully when you get up there they'll have some left, sometimes not. And if you have 5 or 10 gallons, I can certainly get you through, you know, the rest of the day. For a lot of people, the rest of the week, if you're being judicious with your usage, and that can save you a lot of heartache and headache. And that's usually what it's about with preparedness. It's not surviving some epic apocalyptic disaster. It's about getting through these little hardships that you would otherwise still survive, but may have to put up with a lot of crap and may make your life miserable or cause some problems. And storing gas is one of the things that you can do to get around that. And especially with all the stuff that's going on in the Middle East, not just now but constantly, it's not hard to imagine situations where it might not be a bad idea to have anywhere from 5 to probably 50 gallons of gas sitting around. Beyond that, you're probably going to have storage issues, probably have legal issues with storing it as well. Not that I really give a shit about that, but you may not want to deal with that. Now, the best way to store it, in my opinion, is metal jerry cans, and they're actually kind of hard to find. I had made a video about this before. I don't like the plastic ones as much. Usually the lids are not airtight. The way they make them now is just crap, and they're shaped weird. They're short and squat. They don't store well, and they usually will leak or something like that, and they're made to have these weird safety lids, and they just are not good in my opinion. They're not as sturdy, and they're harder to use. I would get the metal jerry cans like this. They have 2.5 gallon sizes you can get, which are a little easier to carry around, and this is the 5 gallon size. And these are really easy because they can sit like this, they can lay flat, they can stand up, and they have airtight lids with rubber seals. This one even has a cotter pin to prevent it from just accidentally becoming open. You can see that just comes out. I have the NATO style and the American style. This is the US style right here. The lid's a little smaller on the front, but it does have the extra pin, and as you can see, airtight seal, and you can put a little bit of Vaseline on that seal when you close it to make sure it gets a good tight seal and the rubber doesn't dry rot. And then when you close it, you just make sure the cotter pin's out of the way and put that right back through there, and you're good to go. And one thing to make sure you get with these, if at all possible, is the spout. And this is also called a donkey dick if you've ever been in the military, for obvious reasons. And this makes it a lot easier to fill anything up. You can use a normal funnel, but even with a funnel, I would recommend, you probably have to use both for a normal vehicle, because these are maybe long enough to go into your car, but maybe not. So you want to get a long, thin funnel and get the spout, because I think the spout is not that much more. Now, normally these have become very hard to find and very expensive. Just recently, and depending on when you're watching this video, it might not apply, but as of mid-July 2014, the Sportsman's Guide actually is running a great sale on these. I think they have the brand new, this is where I got these, so the brand new US gas cans for like 26 bucks, and the spouts for like 8 bucks, which is, as far as I'm concerned, from what I've seen, is an amazing deal. I don't get any kickbacks from this. I was just letting you know if you want to get one. I picked up a couple, and they're usually on Amazon too. If you check the link below, anything you buy on Amazon, I do get a percentage of for a referral. It doesn't cost you anything extra, but Sportsman's Guide, I'm just letting you know about some great prices. Always check Amazon first before buying, just to make sure you're not paying more. But as of right now, I think 26 bucks for one of these cans is an insane deal. Normally they're closer to twice that much, like I was saying. So you will also need to, if you're planning on storing for more than like 2 or 3 months, you'll probably want to get some Stabil or one of the other gasoline stabilizers. There's a couple different brands, and people's opinions differ on which one is good. I've used Stabil before, and it seems to work fine. I don't let it sit for more than a year anyway. I cycle it out at that point. I'll just pour it into the cars and then fill them up with new gas and add the stabilizer. And then you always have a pretty fresh supply of anywhere from 5 to like 25, 30 gallons, and that should get you through a lot of different situations where you would need gas. Obviously, if everything goes completely to shit, you're not going to be using your car for the same things anyway, and unless you had, you know, thousands of gallons, you're not going to be able to go for that long anyway with gas. But you can use it for lawnmowers or other small gas things, a chainsaw if you want to be chopping firewood or clearing stuff in like a shit hit the fan scenario, or even after hurricanes when the power's out, you can still run your gasoline powered things. A generator is another big one. Obviously, a generator isn't a great solution for super long-term electricity in a disaster situation. You know, talking like months down the road, you're not going to be running off gas still. You may want to have solar panels or wind power or some other form of power if you're really planning on that type of long-term self-sufficiency, which I recommend, but I don't have yet because it is expensive. But for short-term, 10, 20 gallons of gas will get you through a lot of crappy situations, especially if you're only using that type of electricity for the major things, and keep all your food from rotting in your fridge, your freezer, things like that in a week-long power outage or something like that, because you won't have to run the generator constantly. You can just run it to chill the fridge down. That's probably one of the more major things. Things like light, there's other easier ways to get it than having to run a generator. But emergency gas tools, generator, and emergency travel or bugging out, always a great idea to have some gas on hand. Or just momentary spikes in price too. If something crazy happens and people panic and you say, you know what, these prices are super inflated, I don't think they're going to last more than a few weeks at this price, go ahead and use that opportunity to cycle through your gas. Use up the gas that's in the cans, and by the time you're done with that, it'll probably have come down a little bit, hopefully. And if not, then you've cycled out your gas at what is probably the new normal anyway. So it's always a good idea to have stuff around like this, and the gas is something that people use so often in today's society that it definitely can't hurt to have a few gallons lying around. Just make sure you store it in a safe place. These cans are good because they are airtight, but you do need to keep them out of the heat or sun because they will like bloat because there's no pressure release. So don't let them get hot, but they are a great way to store gas. So hopefully this video didn't run too long. Definitely check out the Amazon and Sportsman's Guide to see if you need any of these yourself, and I'll talk to you guys later. I'll make a video of actually doing the cycling when it comes up for time for that again for me, of filling the cans up and how I do it. So I'll talk to you guys later.